Let me bring Mark in here right now. Mark, we thought we lost you for a minute there.
Yes, I was having network issues, but I'm good now. Can you hear me?
That's okay. We can hear you. We can see you. So excited to have Dr. Mark Ofua joining us. He's a veterinarian who set up an animal shelter in Lagos, Nigeria's largest city. After 5 years ago, or sorry, more than 5 years ago now, probably, Mark, 6 or 7 years now?
Yes, about 7.
All right. So along with dogs and cats, he's increasingly finding himself rescuing wild animals, including one of the world's most endangered, the pangolin. So he raises orphan pangolins, saves them from the bushmeat trade so that they can be released back into the wild. Mark, it is so good to see you. This is the second year you've joined us, and you know the work you're doing, the growth of the conservation work is so impressive.
Thank you so much.
All right.
Thank you so much. It's what we have sold ourselves into, and there is no turning back.
All right. Well, look, Mark, I know you wanted to share your screen, a little presentation. So if you want to go ahead and do that, I'll bring it up nice and full screen for us.
Okay, so let me attempt to do that.
Yeah, I saw you backstage earlier and testing that screen share, and it was looking nice and good. And I see it popping up now.
So can you see my screen now?
I can. Yep. Yep.
Okay.
Perfect. I'm going to bring this nice and full screen now, and then it's all yours for a little bit.
Okay.
Can you just hit the... Oh, there it goes. We're good, Mark.
All right. And you can see me too, yes?
Yeah, we've got you on screen as well.
Okay. So thank you very much, Joe. Thank you, everyone. Welcome to Africa. Welcome to West Africa. And welcome to Nigeria. My presentation actually is going to be a story. I've been seeing wonderful presentations around some scientific and all that. And I'll be telling you basically our story so far. So the title for my presentation is Rescuing Pangolins in Nigeria, the Story So Far. And I remain Dr. Mark Ofua. Okay. I'm sure the story from Nigeria, from Africa hasn't been too good. And we're trying to see what we can do to change the status quo. So let me start by highlighting the problem for us to, that'll be a good startup point. Now, first of all, Nigeria has made the news as the hub of illegal pangolin trade from Africa worldwide. Now, we have a lot of Asian presence here in Nigeria, the Chinese. You know, they have this strong presence in Africa. And, sorry, excuse me. I have a friend who is disturbing me. All right. So, most of the seizures of pangolin scales everywhere in the world, in Asia, in Vietnam, China, have all been traced to Nigeria. That's the pangolin scales. And then even the pangolin, the whole pangolins traced here to Nigeria too. Now, it's important to say that Nigeria, although is not the source of the scale seizures, the scales that are seized, but because we have a very weak border protection, the entire West African belt, you see pangolin scales, even all the way from Central Africa, you see pangolin scales finding their way into Nigeria on for export. And in the course of my work, what I have come to discover is you find these guys, the shipping agencies, the Chinese that we have here that are into logging or charcoal trade or something, they use this as a cover for the pangolin smuggling, pangolin scale smuggling. So what you have is containers that are full, but actually it's the top half that has the timber or the charcoal or something. The lower half is loaded with pangolin scales and all that. So this is how the pangolin scales are smuggled out of the country. Now we have very good laws. Our laws are about 70% okay, but enforcement is zero, and that is where the bane of our problem is. There is very little enforcement, and nobody really cares and all that. And when you try to push, they'll tell you that, look, people are hungry, or we've not finished taking care of people, and then you're talking about wild animals or something, you know. And then there's that cultural aspect too. Bushmeat consumption is seen as a part of the culture, and there is really no interest to push for the enforcement of the protection of these animals. Another problem we have is lack of awareness amongst people in authority and enforcement. Now, people in authority, these are people that are to make the laws. These are people that are to make the laws to protect wildlife. They actually do not, from my experience, I find they actually do not understand why wildlife should be protected. They tend to see it as like they have a soft spot for animals, so they are pushing for protection. They do not see it as an intrinsic part of our existence, protecting nature, protecting wildlife. So you find that that push to protect is not really there. And then the law enforcement also, or the arm also, what is expected of them to enforce these laws. I was surprised at an exhibition recently, about 2 years ago, and you find custom officers seeing a pangolin for the first time, not knowing what the pangolin scale is or something. So, how do these people now protect a pangolin when they see it in somebody's hands? Instead of protecting, what they do is they bring out their phones to take good pictures, to post on social media or something, because they do not even know that this animal is a pangolin and that it should be protected by law and that they are supposed to enforce it. So these are part of the problem we have. Another thing is the low interest in conservation proper. Now, in a country as big as Nigeria, with all the diversity we have, you want to see so many conservation bodies or interests springing up. But you find out that there is very, very low interest in that angle. And it will surprise you to know that we, St. Mark's Animal Rescue Foundation, is about the only wildlife rescue center in the entire country. And now that is a huge problem because I see ourselves as just like the tip of the iceberg or just like a drop in the ocean. We are not up to 10% where we should be yet. And if we are the only wildlife rescue center in the entire country, then you can imagine what the problem is. You know, we have other conservation bodies, but they are more interested in either raising rangers to protect the national parks or something. But rescue centers that would rescue wildlife from bushmeat, educate people and all that, it's they are very, very few in the country. So these are the problems that we face. And it's against this backdrop that St. Mark's Animal Hospital and St. Mark's Animal Rescue Foundation has come. So what we do at St. Mark's basically is, it started from my passion for wildlife. I go to these bushmeat markets and interface with hunters and all that. And whenever I make a rescue, there's a seizure or something, I take these animals, I rehabilitate them, and release back to protected forest. Now, it started with any kind of animal, any wildlife that I get, from birds to reptiles to mammals to amphibian, anything I lay my hands on, I rescue, rehab, and release. But in one of my forays, I came across a pangolin, and that was what started my love for pangolin. That was what started my passion for pangolin. And in one of my forays to the bushmeat market, where I was actually going to rescue a pangolin, right there on the table, one of the captive pangolins gave birth to a baby. Now, she was so weak, she was barely breathing. I think she used her last strength to push the baby out. And that was Juba, the one on the left of the screen. The one on the left of the screen. And of course, when Juba came, I didn't know anything about raising orphan pangolins. I cried out for help. I reached out to friends outside the country, friends from South Africa, Zimbabwe, Tiki Highwood, and all of them. They were pangolin people are wonderful people. They rallied around me. We came together and we were able to raise Juba successfully. We raised him for about 9 months plus before we released. And after Juba, Ireti came. I think Ireti was the topic for my presentation last year. Her entire story, it was beautiful. So, but with Juba and Ireti, I started gaining experience, and it also these two pangs actually shaped my perception and my mindset about the rescues. Now, there's an element to my rescue that is controversial because I know buying of wildlife from these poachers, from the sellers, as a form of rescue is frowned at. Well, I didn't care because my passion is what drives me. I do what I have to do. If I can talk them to release the animal, beautiful. But if I have to part with money, I don't care. I've seen this animal. I must rescue this animal, and I go all out to do that. You know. So that's I know I have been managing. But with these orphaned babies, the babies they are when they are born, the mother usually dies about a couple of days later, and the baby died too. The baby is of no value to them. They usually chuck them away or throw them away to die, or just ignore them on the ground or something, and then they die off. So getting these babies off from them, I don't have to buy, I don't have to pay. So it turned my focus towards starting a pangolin orphanage. You know, and I've been able to have this relationship with them. Whenever there's a baby born in captivity, oh, they call that madman that would come would come charging like anything to get the baby to raise and all that. So that is how we started the Pangolin Orphanage. Um, this video actually shows the opening of the soft release sites, the first of its kind in Nigeria. We started the orphanage. So in the orphanage, we pay more attention to babies that are born in captivity or pregnant mothers that are rescued from captivity that are born in the hospital, and then we raise them. Now, raising a baby pangolin is a whole lot of work, not to talk of what we did next. Well, there was a time in our orphanage, we raised the number from 1 to 2 to 3 to 4 and to 5 babies. I think that is a record anywhere in the world. We're raising 5 babies at once, and I think for now, because of manpower, we're pegging it at 5 babies. The one on my shoulder right now is one of such babies. We At this point, we were actually overwhelmed. I had to cry for help because feeding a baby pangolin, they eat very little, just about 20 to 40 mils of formula. But one baby would spend about 40 minutes to 1 hour taking 40 mils of formula. So when you have 5 babies, then you're spending about 5 to 6 hours on feeding the pangs alone. And that's, you do that 3, 4 times a day, you find out that you're spending about 15 to 20 hours just feeding these babies in a day. So it's really time consuming and the work. And then we have other animals to attend to. We're basically self-funded. I run a small animal hospital, and it's from the proceeds from the small animal hospital that we run this orphanage. So it's a whole lot of work. My staff, they are overworked and double worked, but because of the passion we have, we enjoy it, and we take volunteers. That's Maria Deckman from Rest Namibia. She came to volunteer to help us with the babies. She was really helpful, and we had a nice time with her. So that is the work staff for St. Mark's. That's how we basically work with the pangolins. We raise them, we feed them, exercise them, and then as they grow to be about 7 months of age, we start introducing them to ants. And then by 9 months of age, we take them to the field to forage and on the forest by themselves. You know, it's usually very funny when we introduce these pangolins to wild ants. Immediately you take them to the ant nest or something. When they perceive these ants, they are all excited and geared up because they can smell food. I think their natural instinct kicks in, and then they start scratching, digging into the nest, and then you see their tongue flickering at a very fast pace, feeding and all that. But of course, the ants won't take the invasion line down. The ants will pour out to engage the pangolin. And when the ants start biting the pangolins, you see this shock literal shock on the face of the pangolin, and they run away, practically like run away. And it will take a while again, maybe a couple of visits before they ever even go near the ants again. But after a while, they start getting used to it that, oh, there is this food that you have to get that fights back. And what we do is, as the animal age, we start reducing the formula so that they get more hungry and then they depend more on foraging. And we do that in percentages, and then we weigh them every day to see that the animal is actually foraging and putting on weight and not just walking about in the bush. And then we do this, and then when we see that the animal is able to get up to 90% of its food from foraging, we actually stop the formula and then the animal is weaned onto ants. That's when we now take to the soft release center that we showed earlier. Yes, that's when we now take them here to the soft release center. It's a large piece of land that we have fenced around. The fence is about 33 feet high, and the last part of the fence is made of sheet metal so that they can't climb out. And we keep them there and then monitor them for another couple of months. And then when we see that they've done very well, we now release. Now, this video you're seeing is a wonderful experience that we had recently. It's sometime in January, and it's very, very particular to me. We released a batch of 5 pups. You see how big they are. They're ranging from about 9 months to about 15 months. These guys are already fully able to forage by themselves and all that. And for the first time, we're not just releasing them, we were able to get radio tags on them. You can see the radio tag on the tail of the pangolin. We were able to get radio tags. We had somebody that sponsored us, that donated, and we're able to get radio tag and put on them. And so we released them, but this time around, we're not releasing on faith. We were able to monitor them. We go to the forest with our radio antenna. We track these animals, and we see them doing very well. And yes, so that's very, very emotional for me, because for once we are able to see that our work is yielding progress, and these babies are actually doing well post-release. And now, after the release, this is one of the sightings we made. I think this sighting was made about a month post-release, because sometimes when we use the radio has its limitations. It's not like a GPS. The radio tells you the area, the particular area where the pangolin is. But if the pangolin is up asleep on the tree, you won't be able to see it. Or if it's in the dense foliage, you might not be able to see it, but you know it's there. But once in a while, we're able to make sightings, and this is one of such sightings. We tracked this animal, and we saw it broad daylight. You know, pangolins are usually thought to be nocturnal, but we saw this guy. It was about 1 p.m. in the afternoon, and he was having fun and foraging and being the king of his forest. You can see the radio tag on his tail, and he's doing very well and all that. You know, you can see that. So for once, we're able to have sightings and see that this animal is doing well. That was a sighting we made. The animal is high up in the tree, foraging and having fun, you know. So we're able to monitor these babies that we tag. We had just funding for 3 pangolins, and we're able to tag only 3 of them. And we're able to monitor the 3 of them doing very well. This is another one, high up on the tree, foraging and playing and having fun, still in the daytime. So we see that pangolins are not just nocturnal, they are actually active during the day as well. Depends on how it suits them. So that was another sighting. This was one of the females we put near the river. You can see the tag very close to the tail. Doing very well, foraging and ignoring us typically. So for the first time, we're able to see that these babies actually are doing very well, and they don't have any problem surviving in the wild. This sighting was done about 3 months. It was done last month, I think, in April. So that's about 3 months post-release, and they're doing very, very well. So that is a picture of me tracking them on radio. It's in a park, in a protected forest, and we're tracking them, and we can see how they're doing. We can see that they're doing well and all that. So it's a lot of work. Remember, after tracking, still have to go back to the clinic to feed the new set of babies. That's another day tracking. This was when we found the baby up on the tree. Now, like I said, the problem is multifaceted, and what we're doing is just a part of the solution. It's not the entire solution. We are rescuing, rehabilitating, and releasing to the wild. It's just a part of the solution. Now, the other problem that we have identified, we are doing our best to see how we can mitigate them. So I actually couldn't get the picture for this slideshow. I have partnered with the Nigerian Customs. We're training their officers on identifying these wildlife and how to make proper seizure and how to handle seizure and also to send to us for rehabilitation. We've had very huge success in that. And then also the education parts, I partner with schools, we educate the children on the need for conservation of the species. So I go from school to school teaching them. And not just that, we organize programs where kids come to us. They learn about these animals firsthand, and then they learn the reason for conservation. The truth is, I have come to realize and discover that children are a very good way to get to parents. They will take this message to the parents and educate their parents. But not just that, we also hope to break that vicious circle of ignorance, you see, that is passed on from generation to generation. So we're raising a generation of kids that are aware of the environment, that are aware of the need for conservation, and they are going to take this message. And when it's their time to look after the environment, they will do very well. And not also only that, we go to social media. I partnered with an international organization, Wild Aid. That is Peter Knight of Wild Aid. We have what we do with media, social media, print media, news media, and we keep passing on this message of conservation so that people would know. We do media campaigns and we're engaging people, and we're beginning to record some success. And the current situation right now in Nigeria is we have legislation protecting wildlife that is being developed by the various houses of Senate. That is beautiful. The excellent laws, they are developing the laws and strengthening them. And then they're also increasing penalties and all that. I think this is a huge win for wildlife in Nigeria. And when the laws come out, we expect the laws to come out in a month or two from now. It's going to be handed over to law enforcement. Remember, we've already trained law enforcement, the police and customs. We've had various trainings with them. And I know before the end of this year, wildlife protection in Nigeria is going to take a roundabout turn. Now, we have 2 bushmeat markets shut down by the authorities. This is a huge win. These are markets that have been in operation for decades, shut down. This is a huge win for wildlife. We're having an increasing range of wildlife ambassadors that are preaching the gospel. And for the first time, to the best of my knowledge, in Nigeria, we had a sting operation, not on pangolins anyway. I got information about a manatee that was being in captivity and they were planning to export. And we led a sting operation with the authorities. We were able to rescue the manatee and release back to the wild. So it's a very huge win for me. And I'm grateful for the impact we have been able to make on the face of wildlife. And I'm happy that these pangolins, they have an option, a chance to survive in Nigeria by the activities of myself and my staff and like-minded individuals in Nigeria who are set and bent on changing the face of wildlife in Nigeria. Thank you very much for listening. That's my story.
All right. What a great story it is, Mark. I don't know how you're concentrating with the pangolin on your shoulder looking for ants in your ear. I don't know how you're doing it.
These guys are very interesting. They play a lot and they have toys, they play and they communicate. Very interesting animals.
Well, congratulations on the opening of the Pangolin Orphanage and having them back into the wild with the trackers and being able to keep track of them. when we first connected a few years ago and we talked to students, I remember the way the students' eyes lit up when they saw the pangolin. And, you know, then it was just, you were talking about it, wanting to do it. And I'm so impressed with the progress you've made. You're making such a difference for pangolins in Nigeria.
Thank you.
So I want to share a link here. I want to share a link to your Instagram. And then on the Instagram as well is a link. It looks like a link to the website as well, where people can learn more,
Exactly.
where they can likely donate to help support the program, which is so important, right? Without donations, you're not able to do the work that you are doing.
Where this is most important now is with extra help, we can actually increase from 5 pangolins to maybe 10 in the orphanage. We'll be able to get more manpower and increase our base of operation. I look forward to it.
I can imagine 5 are a handful. I saw the picture where you had them climbing on. So you're probably grateful for those volunteers.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, so cool. Absolutely amazing. On the chat, everybody's so excited. There were some viewers from last year who were nervous that they weren't going to see a baby pangolin. And when they saw our friend make that appearance, it made their day. They're so excited to see. And it's so tough too. They're such a charismatic species, but they are one of the most trafficked on the planet. And so I can imagine you get ups and downs, right? Days that are so exciting, but days that are low as well.
Oh yes. If you lose one of your rescues, it's like the end of the world.
Yeah.
But the release, actually, I didn't talk about the release. The release makes up for all the work, all the sweats, everything. When you make a release, it's like a spiritual moment, and nothing compares to it, I can assure you.
I can only imagine. I'm going to put you full screen, Mark, because half hour goes. Oops, I put me full screen. No one wants to see me. They want to see you. Half hour goes so fast. I can't believe it. Mark, thank you. Thank you for the work.
So this is Seed. Yes. Seed is about 4 months old.
Amazing. 4 months old.
Yes.
And how long before, being able to be released in the rehabilitation center?
So the release comes from about 9 months.
Yeah.
9 months, at 9 months of age, they hit about 1.2 kilogram, which is a good time for them to release. So between 9 months to about 15 months, depend on how well he's able to adapt to the wild. That's when we make the release.
All right. Well, Mark, again, thank you so much. I'm going to share one more time this banner up here to jump onto the Instagram, follow along, visit the website as well, and help make this dream go from 5 pangolins to 10 to 20 to whatever's needed. Mark, thank you so much for being with us today.
Thank you so much, Joe.
All right. I look forward to talking to you soon. Have a great rest of the weekend.
Thank you so much. Cheers.